Hello and welcome to your NEWSMAX Daily for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024, the 261st day of the year with 105 to go. Today, the country is recognizing and celebrating Constitution Day and Citizenship Day, put forward by Congress in 1952. President Biden has issued the proclamation of the day, as every president since 1952 has done on this day. And with 48 days to go until Election Day, today is also National Voter Registration Day. Super important day, goes hand in hand with Constitution Day. And if you are not yet registered to vote, you can do so by mail, you can do it online, or in person at your local supervisor of elections office. Celebrate the Constitution by exercising your right to vote. Too big to rig, right? Everybody's got to get out and vote. Thanks to Kay Smythe, by the way, for filling in yesterday while I was taking care of some business. If you missed it, she talked about the metaphorical storm that we're having politically and the actual storms that they were having in the Carolinas where she lives, which I thought was really well done, by the way. Thank you, Kay. And today, people along the Carolina coast and even further inland are dealing with flooding and power outages and cleaning up the mess. So we certainly wish them and Kay well and hope everyone in that part of the country is safe. As for the political storm that we're all in,
it worked out well, and Secret Service did an excellent job. And they have the man behind bars, and hopefully he's going to be there for a long time. Dangerous person, very, very dangerous person.
Former President Donald Trump in an X Spaces interview last night that was supposed to be about cryptocurrency. Instead, he had to speak about Sunday's assassination attempt.
Well, there's a lot of rhetoric going on. Right. A lot of people think that the Democrats, when they talk about threat to democracy and all of this.
Trump did say that President Biden called him again.
He was very nice today. He called up to make sure I was okay, to make sure that, do I have any suggestions or anything? Mm-hmm. We do need more people on my detail.
Donald Trump is also meeting with the acting Secret Service Director, Ronald Rowe Jr. himself. Let's start it off with Greg Kelly from last night's edition of Greg Kelly Reports.
The Secret Service Director, this guy I do not trust, and President Trump should not trust him either, the acting Secret Service Director, Ron Rowe. What he said today, this has not been noticed. This has not been adequately highlighted. I'm going to try. They're trying to blame Trump. Yep. Watch this.
This was an off-the-record movement. It wasn't a site that was on his scheduled. It wasn't part of his schedule. So there was no posting up of it because he wasn't supposed to have gone there in the first place.
President Trump was not supposed to have gone to his golf course on a Sunday when he was in town. That's what he said, and he reiterated it later. President Trump wasn't supposed to be there. This is how the bureaucracy rolls, especially this bureaucracy, this swamp, right? We know they want to stop Trump. We know it. And this guy, to say that now, that reveals an awful lot.
The suspected shooter, 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ruth, was in court yesterday and is facing multiple firearm charges by a convicted felon. Trump's running mate, Senator Vance, told the crowd at the Faith and Freedom Coalition dinner in Atlanta last night how Trump called him after Sunday's attempted assassination attempt.
He says, no, I was playing golf, and the Secret Service found somebody who was trying to shoot me. And I say, oh, my Lord, sir. I'm so glad you're okay. I mean, are you doing okay? Are you not just physically okay, but everything's fine? He said, yeah, I'm doing fine. And this is just who Donald Trump is. He said, I'm a little mad because I was about to make a birdie putt on the 6th hole and they wouldn't let me finish.
Vance also called out dangerous rhetoric from the left.
No one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric.
And this is Hillary Clinton on MSNBC last night calling for the country to turn down the rhetoric.
I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The late, great journalist Harry Evans one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump, his demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it.
He's a danger to our country and the world. Very nice, Hillary. Yes, I was being sarcastic when I said she was calling for the country to turn down the rhetoric. Just turning it up. This is a little more than 24 hours after the attempted shooting at the golf course. Carl Higbie spoke about it with Donald Trump Jr.
So it actually seems like the media narrative is playing into like our foreign adversaries trying to sow discord in our country. They spent the last week literally playing into the hands of foreign adversaries to weaponize misinformation and hoaxes to smear my father, because they understand, and our foreign adversaries certainly don't want people who are strong and with resolve in government. They want the incompetence that America has exuded under the Harris-Biden regime, because that's great for them and it's terrible for America. A weak America is good for our enemies, and that's what you get with Biden and Harris.
Yeah, 100%. Well, here's another one. You remember Vindman. He was not a favorite of anybody on the right, but Rachel Vindman, the wife of that Democrat who's now running for Congress, okay, who, reminder, testified against Donald Trump in his first impeachment hearing, took to Twitter, his wife, on Sunday, right after with, quote, "No ears were harmed, carry on with your Sunday afternoon." Then she doubled down with, "Oh, sorry your trigger," with laughing emojis. I don't really care a bit. But today, obviously, here's what Vindman posted, or the wife of. "I have deleted my tweet. It was flippant political violence. It's a serious issue, whether it's aimed at a former president, the media, immigrants, political enemies, it's this blah, blah, blah." Now she's backing out because the donor class got her. What would you say to her if you were sitting across the table right now, Don?
Listen, she's disgusting, just like her husband was, just a corrupt guy. That was the guy, I guess, they wanted to give the Minister of Defense of Ukraine to. I'm sure he was a very loyal patriot to America. But it doesn't just end with her. I mean, Kamala Harris repeatedly, and I quote, "Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. It's on us to recognize the threat Trump possesses. Does one of us have to come out alive? Ha, 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 ha." I mean, these are Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. "It's time to put a bullseye in Trump." Like, these are direct quotes. There is one existential threat. It's Donald Trump. That's another Joe Biden. Gwen Waltz, "Bye-bye, Donald Trump." It goes on and on. There's a list. We just put it out on X. All of these high-powered Democrat officials, the people that, we got to tone down the rhetoric. They're the ones doing all the rhetoric, Carl. But it's typical Democrat projection, okay? They accuse everyone else of doing the things that they're doing. They scream and yell, just like they've been talking about democracy and calling everyone they don't like a fascist, while censoring, jailing their political opponents, and so on and so forth. They're the ones acting like actual fascists. They do it day in and day out. But they have the mainstream media covering for them. They have big tech. They've made it okay. They have created this level of intensity in our political system. They have created the lunatics who will go after and try to kill my father. And I can tell you something, as a father of 5, I'm sick and tired of having to have a conversation with my children about yet another deranged leftist radicalized by the media, by the mainstream media, by big tech, by Democrat politicians trying to kill their grandfather. I had to have that conversation 5 separate times again yesterday. Yeah. It's getting old, and it's caused 100% by the Democrats.
Yeah. Well, and, your brother Barron obviously had tweeted out, I mean, he's at college in NYU, and he was like, "Dear God, please keep my father safe." And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, all these people, look, they live in their ivory tower bubbles. They live on, the Upper East Side with their mansions, and they got private security in dorm, and they've never had to worry about anything like this. But, people actually mocked your brother Barron over a tweet. It was like, "Hey, I really love my father, and I don't want him to get killed." And that was somehow controversial. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, and you had a bunch of professors, I believe, at the school that wanted to denounce him going to his school. I mean, this is the left. There's nothing tolerant about the left. They're only tolerant if you agree with 100% of their insane policies. Like if you think, 3-year-olds should be able to go through gender-affirming care, change their body and their sex forever, undergo years of hormone treatments, have a recidivism rate of 93%, but who cares? It's in the name of wokeness. Like, as long as you want to do that, and parents can't have any consent in it, you're okay. Yeah. The second you diverge and say, you know what, there's something a little bit odd here, you're totally out. They've weaponized everything. That's what's at stake, Carl. Yeah. Literally everything is on the table. Everything we believe in as Americans, our freedoms, the basic tenets of democracy and our republic are at stake this time. And if you don't think so, you haven't been watching the Democrats closely enough.
And it's worth fighting for. Don, appreciate your time. I'm sorry for what you and your family are going through, but I appreciate it, sir.
Carl Higbie, host of Frontline on Newsmax with Don Jr. And for more on the attempted shooting and the media, this is Rob Schmitt.
Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. On Sunday, for the second time in just 2 months, a well-coordinated assassin made an impressive attempt to kill former President Trump. 58-year-old Ryan Ruth from North Carolina, unstable and brainwashed by mainstream propaganda, fully obsessed with Ukraine, was armed with an SKS-style rifle with a very powerful scope on it when he walked into the heavy brush that typically divides upscale golf courses from boundary roadways. Ruth got into position at 2 o'clock in the morning, the night before Trump would golf at his home course. It's very likely Ruth just knows that Trump plays a lot of golf, and after Labor Day, most of that golf occurs at his home course in West Palm Beach. And maybe he just took a gamble. We're not really sure yet. And had a Secret Service agent not somehow seen that rifle muzzle push through the fence line, Ruth was about 5 minutes away from being a very easy chip shot away from Trump as he was putting on the 6th hole. He was right there, and Trump was coming up that hole in just a few minutes, and it would have been probably game over. But somehow Donald Trump has cheated death for a second time in 2 months, and once again we're left with a very obvious reason as to why this is happening. The left and its media has told us for years now that Trump is a threat to democracy, he's probably a Nazi, and he will destroy American life as we know it if he gets back into the White House. So, of course, people are trying to kill him. Doesn't surprise anybody. When you talk like this about somebody, there's going to be a lot of crazy people that want to kill that person, and they're going to try. Yet here was Joe Biden today responding to this latest assassination attempt.
The service needs more help, and I think the Congress should respond to their needs if they, in fact, need more services. I think thank God the president's okay.
Yeah, thank God the president's okay, you know. Thank God that threat to democracy is okay. What a tragedy it would be if the threat to democracy were somehow neutralized. America is over if he wins in 50 days, but thank God he wasn't hurt. Biden and Trump actually spoke on the phone today, and it was a wonderful call, we're being told by the White House. So yet again, an assassination attempt reveals that all of this is just a game to these people. The rhetoric is so hot that bullets are flying in your country, but in reality, it's just Democrats trying to hold on to power. The crazies out there, though, like Ryan Ruth, don't really get that, right? Ruth, a Democrat donor, has parroted the Democrat Party's exact Trump talking points. How many times have we heard democracy is on the ballot?
Democracy is on the ballot. Your freedom is on the ballot.
Democracy is on the line. Our democracy is at stake.
Democracy will be on the ballot.
Democracy will remain the sacred cause of the United States of America.
It will be up to the American voters to save our democracy in November. We are really, here, trying to keep democracy going.
Well, Ryan Ruth tweeted out just in April of this year, democracy is on the ballot this year, and we cannot lose. We cannot lose.
Rob also spoke with the one and only Bill O'Reilly, who suggests the two presidential nominees come together and issue a statement on the intensity of the election.
All right, Bill O'Reilly is the author of Confronting the Presidents, a new book we're going to talk about here in a moment. But first, we're going to start, and sir, it's good to have you on. Two really well-planned assassination attempts in 2 months against Trump. Both of them, I think, probably should have been successful. What are your thoughts today?
Well, they're mentally ill people, and this is 9 times now. We've had presidents assassinated or attempted to be killed. I write about 7 of them in Confronting the Presidents, my new book. And the one thing they all have in common, Rob, is that the people who did this were all mentally sick. And I believe that these two, one in Butler and the guy yesterday in Florida, are in that category. And there's really nothing that society can do because we're free. And we got millions of people running around who are mentally ill. And what do you do? So our freedom works against us in this capacity. That being said, I think the Secret Service has to be overhauled. It was ridiculous in Butler. The woman who was running the agency had to quit because she didn't. It was embarrassing, her testimony in front of Congress. I don't know the new guys meet with Trump today in Mar-a-Lago. I don't know how efficient he is or not, but certainly the Secret Service, which did a good job yesterday, getting this guy out of the weeds. Overall, I think they got to reassess how they're guarding not only Trump, but Harris, Biden, and everybody else who's in that position.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's something. I mean, the guy was sitting there for 12 hours. He went in the middle of the night. I mean, if you're smart, you know Trump's going to play that golf course probably a couple times a week. It's after Labor Day. He's going to be in Florida. He was going to wait there. And if he had to wait there a couple of days, there was a good chance Trump was going to come by because one of the holes goes right by him. He was probably get him on the fifth or sixth green. And obviously the Butler shot should have hit him. So these were two really well thought out attempts. You know, that if I don't know how he saw that little muzzle come out of that fence line in the shade of all those trees, but that was a miracle in itself. But I just want to just play people a reminder of how they talk. And by they, I mean the left throughout this country and its media as well. This is how they talk about Trump.
Trump is an existential, urgent threat to our democracy.
Donald Trump is a threat to the democracy, and there's too many people that are following that.
He is paving the way to become a Vladimir Putin or to become an Adolf Hitler.
A lot of people have tried to draw similarities between Mussolini and Hitler.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
So, I mean, you say he's on his way to becoming a Putin or Hitler. I mean, if these words were true, you know, and as you say, there's a lot of sick people in this country that don't understand, you know, what they're saying. If those words were true, though, then they would be justified in what they've tried to do here.
No, they wouldn't. I disagree with that. I do believe the hatred, political hatred in this country is at the highest level since the Civil War. It's worse than Vietnam. I do believe corporate media allows it and encourages it, particularly NBC News, which is the absolute worst. If you watch MSNBC, the hatred never stops.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I also believe that on the MAGA front and the Trump front, they do similar things to the Democrats and Kamala Harris. So my advice to all of them would be stop it. Stop it now. Get on the platform of running on policy, running on what we would like to do to help the American people. We don't need personal attacks and absurd comparisons to Mussolini and Hitler. I mean, I don't know where they caught this, Rob, but this weekend they actually had a woman criticizing Pope Francis, calling him a sexist and a racist. Pope Francis. This is on NBC News. I mean, it's just like, I'm sitting there going, John Chancellor, Tom Brokaw, never could have happened. Now it's accepted. And the blame goes right to Comcast, right into the corporate headquarters. The blame goes to Disney, to CBS, to Fox News on occasion, to NEWSMAX on occasion. This kind of rhetoric, which is not based on anything but inciting, needs to be tamped down. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Bill O'Reilly with Rob Schmitt, host of Rob Schmitt Tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern on NEWSMAX. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Ronnie D, said that the state of Florida will also conduct its own investigation into the attempted shooting at the Trump golf course. There were a couple of other notable news happenings yesterday. Former Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo made his first court appearance for his role in the heavily criticized response, and that's an understatement, right? The response or lack thereof to the 2022 Robb Elementary School shooting that killed 22 people. Arredondo was the incident commander on the scene at the time, you may recall. His attorneys filed a motion to dismiss the charges, arguing that the scene was so chaotic, there was so much chaos going on, that the chief could not be held responsible for the actions that he did not take on that day. The judge, luckily, fortunately, didn't make a ruling on that motion yesterday. And remember the Titan submersible that sank last year, killing all the people on board? That was the sightseeing tour of the Titanic. Monday marked the first day of hearings with the U.S. Coast Guard on their findings of the disaster that happened last summer, with shocking testimony from some of the engineers who admitted there were concerns, a lot of concerns, that the submersive was never tested to industry standards, that the leaders at Ocean Gate were warned that it wasn't safe, that they weren't building the submersive correctly, they were rushing it. That hearing continues today. And today, Federal Reserve begins its two-day meeting. It's widely anticipated that there will be an interest rate cut by the time the meeting adjourns tomorrow afternoon. But how much? A half a percentage point, a quarter of a percentage point, and what will happen if by chance they don't cut interest rates at all? You're going to want to pay close attention to the markets tomorrow. It looks like Wall Street is banking on an interest rate cut, with markets sharply higher this morning. Be sure to keep up with all of the news today and tonight on NEWSMAX TV and NEWSMAX.com. Make sure you're streaming on NEWSMAX Plus for all of your favorite shows and guests like Rob Schmitt Tonight, Greg Kelly Reports, The Record with Greta Van Susteren, Carl Higbie, Bianca De La Garza, John Bachman, Chris Salcedo, Wake Up America, and more, with analysis from political analyst Mark Halpern, Governor Mike Huckabee, Judge Napolitano, Hogan Gidley, former United States Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, and many others. That's NewsMaxPlus.com. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for checking out the NEWSMAX Daily. Share it with your friends and family. Make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get registered to vote if you are not yet registered. And keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the NEWSMAX app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
Hey, it's Jerry Callahan from The Callahan Show. You can listen to us every day. We react to the latest news, politics, sports, and all the madness in the world. I'll give you my opinion with a little edge, a little attitude. I'm an unapologetic right-winger, trapped behind enemy lines in deep blue Boston, so I'm used to taking on the mainstream media mob. You can hear us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can listen every day at newsmax.com/listen.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is NEWSMAX. It's real news for real people.